The sky above Sector 9 burned in quiet blue fire. No one on Earth saw it. The object fell without sound, cutting through clouds like a silver needle. It did not crash. It did not explode. It simply stopped in the middle of an empty desert, hovering a few feet above the sand. Inside the small scout pod, a young alien girl held her breath. Her name was Lyra. Her species called themselves the Airy. They were known across the stars for their intelligence, beauty, and fragile bodies. They were not warriors. They were not explorers. They were caretakers, thinkers, and artists. But Lyra was different. She stared at the blue planet below through the glowing screen. Earth. A world known in the galaxy for one strange thing: humans. Humans were loud, emotional, stubborn, strong, and very dangerous when angry. Many alien races feared them. Lyra did not. She had studied humans for years. She had watched their wars, their music, their small acts of kindness. She had seen videos of humans saving animals, helping strangers, and standing against impossible odds. Humans were weak compared to many alien species. But they never gave up. That was power. Her people were in danger. A powerful empire called the Karth Dominion had begun taking control of weaker systems. The Airy could not fight back. Their bodies were too delicate. Their cities were built for peace, not war. Lyra had made a choice. She would find a human, not to control, not to use, but to ask for help. The pod lowered slowly to the sand. The hatch opened with a soft hiss. Hot air rushed inside. Lyra stepped out. She looked almost human. Almost. She had long silver hair that moved gently even without wind. Her skin had a faint glow like moonlight. Her eyes were bright violet. She wore a simple white travel suit that shimmered softly. She took one step onto Earth and felt fear. Earth gravity was heavier than her home planet. The air was thicker, and the smells were stronger. She smiled anyway. "I hope I chose correctly," she whispered. 2 miles away, a young man named Arjun was fixing his broken Jeep. He lived alone near the desert edge. He liked quiet places. He worked as a mechanic in a small town, but he enjoyed being far from crowds after work. That night, he had seen something strange in the sky, a blue streak. He told himself it was just a meteor, but meteors did not stop. When he heard a soft humming sound in the distance, he stood up slowly. "That's not normal," he muttered. He grabbed his flashlight and walked toward the sound. The desert was quiet. Too quiet. Then he saw it. A silver pod floating above the sand. Arjun froze. His heart pounded. He thought of running, but instead, he stepped forward. The hatch was open, and standing beside it was a girl. A strange, glowing girl. They stared at each other. Lyra felt it immediately. Human presence was intense, heavy, strong. This one was tall, broad-shouldered, with tired but kind eyes. His hands were rough from work. He did not look like a soldier. "Good." Arjun blinked. Are you real?" Lyra tilted her head slightly. She had practiced human language many times. "Yes," she said softly. "I am real." Her voice was clear but gentle, like wind chimes. Arjun looked at the floating pod, then at her glowing eyes. "Okay," he said slowly. "So, alien?" "Yes." He covered his face with one hand. "Of course," he sighed. Of course this happens to me." Lyra felt confused. "Is this a bad time?" Arjun laughed nervously. "I don't even know what a good time for aliens would be." There was silence. Then Lyra did something unexpected. She bowed slightly. "My name is Lyra of the Airy. I came to request help." Arjun lowered his hand. "Help?" "Yes." He studied her carefully. She did not look dangerous. She looked worried. "From me?" he asked. "Yes." "Why me?" Lyra hesitated. "Yeah, because humans do not surrender." The desert wind moved softly between them. Arjun felt something strange in his chest. Pride, confusion, fear. You don't even know me, he said. I studied your kind for many cycles, Lyra replied. Humans protect what they care about, even when afraid. Arjun looked away. He remembered his younger sister. He had raised her after their parents passed away. He remembered long nights working extra hours so she could study. He understood protecting. What kind of help? He asked quietly. Lyra looked at the stars. My world is threatened. A powerful empire approaches. We cannot fight them. And you think humans can? Yes, Arjun gave a short laugh. You have not seen our politics. Lyra blinked. Politics? Never mind. She stepped closer, though carefully. The gravity still made her movements slow. I did not come to command, she said. I came to ask. Her eyes were honest. That made it harder. Or Arjun walked around her slowly, keeping some distance. Why not ask governments, he said. Because governments hesitate, Lyra replied, and fear spreads quickly among leaders. That was true. And you think one mechanic from the desert can help you? He asked. Lyra looked directly at him. I believe one human can begin something powerful. The wind grew stronger. Arjun stared at the floating pod again. If this was real, everything would change. His quiet life would end. But if she was telling the truth, an entire world needed help. He took a deep breath. Show me, he said. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Show you? Proof. Your world. The threat. She nodded quickly. Yes, I can. She lifted her hand. A small light formed above her palm. It expanded into a hologram. Arjun stepped back in shock. He saw a beautiful planet covered in floating cities made of crystal-like structures. Soft, glowing forests. Silver oceans. It's beautiful, he whispered. Yes, Lyra said softly. Then the image changed. Massive dark ships surrounded the planet. Sharp, brutal shapes filled the sky. Explosions flashed near orbit. The Karth Dominion, she said quietly. Arjun felt anger rise in him. Why attack you? He asked. We refuse to join them. He clenched his fists. That's it? Yes. The hologram disappeared. The desert returned. Lyra looked tired now. My pod has limited power, she said. Yakar, I cannot stay hidden for long. Arjun thought fast. If the military found this, things would become complicated. If the wrong people found her, it could become dangerous. He looked at her again. She trusted him. For some reason, she had chosen him. Okay, he said finally. Lyra's shoulders lifted slightly. You will help? She asked. I didn't say that, he replied quickly. I said okay. First, we get you somewhere safe. Then we think. She nodded quickly. Safe is good. He pointed toward his jeep. Can you hide that thing? Lyra turned to her pod. It slowly shrank, folding into a small silver sphere. It floated into her hand. Arjun stared. That's convenient. Yes? They walked toward the jeep together. Lyra moved slowly but carefully. After a few steps, she stumbled. The gravity was too much. Before she hit the ground, Arjun caught her. She was lighter than he expected. She looked up at him, surprised. Thank you, she said softly. Earth gravity takes getting used to, he muttered. She studied his face closely. Humans were strong, not just physically. She could feel it now. Determination. Responsibility. Arjun helped her into the passenger seat. As he started the engine, he glanced at her. This is crazy, he said. Yes, she agreed. He drove toward his small house near the desert edge. Neither of them noticed the small red light blinking far in the sky. A distant Karth scout drone had detected an energy signal, and it was now moving toward Earth. Lyra looked out at the dark horizon. For the first time since leaving home, she felt hope. Beside her, Arjun tightened his grip on the steering wheel. He had no idea what he had just stepped into. But somewhere deep inside, A quiet voice told him something simple. No one threatens the innocent. Not on his planet, and not on hers. The night felt different. Arjun could not explain it. Yeah, but the air around his small desert house felt heavier than before. Maybe it was because an alien girl was sitting quietly on his old sofa, looking around with wide, curious eyes. Lyra had never seen a human home from the inside. The walls were simple. The paint was slightly cracked. There were tools in one corner. A small kitchen stood near the window. A single fan turned slowly on the ceiling. It is warm, Lyra said softly. Arjun placed a glass of water on the table. Yeah, desert nights stay warm. She touched the glass carefully. You gave me this earlier. It's just water. It is kind, Arjun scratched the back of his head. On Earth, giving water is normal, Lyra smiled faintly. On many worlds, kindness is rare. That sentence stayed in his mind. He sat across from her. Okay, we need a plan. Yes. You said your pod has limited power. It does, Lyra replied. If I use too much energy, it will send a stronger signal. And that's bad? Yes. Before she could say more, her expression changed. She closed her eyes suddenly. Arjun stood up. What happened? Lyra lifted her hand slowly. A faint blue light appeared around her fingers. I am sensing something, she whispered. Arjun felt a chill. Like what? A scan. The word hit hard. From those Karth people? He asked. Yes. She stood up too quickly and almost lost balance again. Arjun held her arm to steady her. Miss, thank you, she said, breathing slowly. They are searching. For you? For the energy signature of my pod. Arjun walked to the window and looked outside. The sky looked normal, stars shining peacefully. But something felt wrong. How far are they? He asked. I do not know. The signal is weak, but it is not far. Arjun ran a hand through his hair. So what happens if they find you? Lyra did not answer immediately. They will mark this planet, she finally said. Yo, for attack? Yes. Silence filled the room. Arjun's heartbeat grew louder in his ears. Earth was not ready for aliens. Not like this. Can they attack right away? He asked. No, they require permission from their command structure. They follow strict rules of expansion. That's weirdly polite. It is not kindness, Lyra said. It is strategy. Arjun began pacing. Okay, think. If they are scanning for your pod, can we hide the signal? Lyra looked thoughtful. Perhaps? She walked toward the small silver sphere resting on the table. It was no bigger than a baseball now. If I connect it to a power source, I may mask the signal temporarily. Arjun blinked. Like electricity? Yes. He looked around at his house. You're about to turn my place into a science lab, aren't you? She tilted her head. Science lab? Never mind. He grabbed a toolbox and moved toward the generator outside. Tell me what to do, he said. Lyra followed him carefully. The desert wind picked up slightly as they stepped outside. High above, hidden beyond normal sight, a small black drone moved silently across the sky. It scanned the ground with red pulses of invisible energy. Inside the house, Arjun connected wires from the generator to an old metal workbench. Lyra placed the silver sphere in the center. Now what? He asked. I will link it. Her fingers glowed brighter this time. Symbols appeared in the air above the sphere, strange shapes that moved like living light. Arjun stared, amazed. You make it look easy, he said. It is not easy, Lyra replied softly. Sweat formed on her forehead. Earth gravity and stress were taking a toll. The sphere opened slightly, revealing glowing lines inside. The generator hummed louder. The lights in the house flickered. Outside, the drone paused midair. Its red scan light focused on Arjun's location. Lyra gasped. So it is close, she whispered. Arjun looked up at the sky again. Still nothing visible. What do we do? He asked. I will redirect the signal, she said, but it may create a temporary energy burst. How temporary? A few seconds. And then? It will think the signal came from another direction. Arjun nodded. Do it. Lyra closed her eyes. The symbols above the sphere spun faster. The generator roared loudly. Suddenly, a bright blue beam shot straight into the sky for half a second. Then it vanished. Everything went silent. Even the wind stopped. Arjun held his breath. Lyra opened her eyes slowly. It worked, she said quietly. Above them, the black drone changed direction sharply. It moved toward the false signal far beyond the desert hills. Arjun let out a long breath. That was intense. Yes. Lyra swayed slightly. He caught her again before she fell. You need rest, he said firmly. Mom, my people do not require much. You're on Earth now, he interrupted. Different rules. She looked at him for a moment. Then she nodded. Inside the house, Arjun placed a blanket over her as she lay on the sofa. You risk much, she said softly. You too, he replied. She studied his face carefully. Why? She asked. Why what? Why help me? He sat in the old wooden chair nearby. Because if someone stronger bullies someone weaker, it's wrong. That is your reason? Isn't that enough? Lyra smiled gently. Yes, she said. It is enough. Hours passed. Arjun did not sleep. He sat near the window, watching the sky. He kept thinking about what Lyra had said. If the Karth discovered Earth, they might attack. All because he chose to help her. But deep inside, he did not regret it. Around midnight, Lyra woke suddenly. Her eyes were wide. They know, she whispered. Arjun stood instantly. What? The drone lost the signal too easily. They will suspect intelligence. So? They will send something stronger. How strong? Before she could answer, a low vibration shook the ground. Not loud, but powerful. Arjun rushed outside. Far in the sky, beyond the clouds, a massive shadow moved. It blocked several stars at once. His stomach dropped. That's not a drone, he said. Lyra joined him at the door. Her face turned pale. That is a scout cruiser. How big? Large enough to destroy a city. Arjun clenched his jaw. Can it see us? Not yet. It is scanning the planet from orbit. His mind raced. If they scan the whole planet, they'll find you eventually. Yes. And if they think Earth has advanced technology, they may attack preemptively. Arjun looked at her. So what's the plan now? Lyra hesitated. There is one option. What? I reveal myself openly. He stared at her. Are you serious? Yes, if I present myself as a lone refugee, they may consider this planet neutral. And if they don't, they will take me. The word felt heavy. Take you where? He asked. To their command vessel. And then? She looked away. Interrogation. Arjun's fists tightened. No. It may protect your world, she insisted. No, he repeated, stronger. You cannot fight them alone, she said softly. Maybe not, he replied. But I'm not handing you over. She stepped closer. You do not understand their power. And you don't understand humans, he said. There was fire in his eyes now. You came here because humans don't surrender, right? Yes. Then stop talking like surrender is the only choice. Lyra felt something shift in the air between them. Determination. Human determination. She had studied it, but seeing it was different. Above them, the giant shadow moved slowly across the sky. Scanning. Watching. Arjun took a deep breath. We need proof, he said. Proof of what? That Earth isn't weak, Lyra blinked. You have no space fleet. No, but we have something else. What? He looked at her with a small, dangerous smile. Creativity. The cruiser's red scanning lights began sweeping across the desert. They were running out of time. Lyra felt fear again. But this time, It was mixed with something stronger. Hope. Because the human beside her was not afraid of impossible odds. And somewhere deep inside, she began to believe something bold. Maybe the galaxy had been wrong about humans. Maybe Earth was not just another target. Maybe it was the beginning of resistance. High above, the Karth cruiser locked onto a new energy pattern rising from the desert. Inside the alien ship, alarms began to sound. And on the ground, Arjun started building something reckless. Something brilliant. Something very human. The red scanning light moved slowly across the desert. It felt like a giant eye searching for prey. Arjun stood in his small workshop, tools spread everywhere. Wires, metal scraps, old radio parts, broken satellite dishes. Everything he had ever collected was now on the table. Lyra watched him with wide violet eyes. "You are building something very fast," she said. "We don't have time to build it slow," he replied. Outside, the low vibration from the Karth cruiser continued. The ground shook gently every few seconds. Lyra looked up at the ceiling. "Their scan pattern is tightening. They are focusing on this region." "Good," Arjun muttered. She stared at him. "Good? Yes? That makes no sense." He held up an old transmitter. "If they are scanning here, we give them something to see." Lyra stepped closer. "You want them to detect you?" "I want them to detect something bigger than you." Her expression slowly changed from confusion to understanding. "You will pretend Earth already has advanced defense technology." "Exactly." Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest. Humans were physically weaker than many species, but their minds were unpredictable. "That is dangerous," she said. "Everything tonight is dangerous," he answered calmly. He connected wires from the generator to the transmitter. Sparks jumped. The lights flickered again. Lyra placed her silver sphere in the center of the table. "If I combine my pod's core with your transmitter, we can amplify the output." "How big of an output?" he asked. She hesitated. "Large enough to appear as a military defense system." Arjun grinned slightly. "Perfect." Outside, the red scan beam swept across the house again. This time it lingered longer. Lyra's breathing became shallow. "They are close to pinpointing us," she said. "Then we give them a reason to hesitate," Arjun replied. He tightened the final bolt and stepped back. "Ready?" Lyra nodded. She placed both hands over the silver sphere. Blue symbols appeared in the air again, spinning faster than before. Arjun pulled the main switch. The generator roared loudly. Energy surged through the wires. The transmitter began to glow. Suddenly, a massive pulse of blue light shot into the sky. But this time it did not fade quickly. It expanded. It spread outward like a wave. High above, inside the Karth scout cruiser, alarms screamed. On the alien ship's command deck, tall armored figures watched their screens carefully. "Unidentified energy signature detected," one officer reported. The commander stepped forward. His dark armor reflected the red lights of the control room. "Source?" he demanded. "Surface. Desert region." "Power level?" There was a pause. "Equivalent to early-stage planetary defense grid." The commander narrowed his glowing eyes. "Impossible. This world was marked primitive." Another officer spoke. "Energy structure is organized, not random." The commander considered this. "Begin deeper scan. Maintain distance." The cruiser stopped moving forward. Back on Earth, Arjun felt the energy pulse vibrate through his bones. Lyra struggled to stay standing. "It is working," she whispered. The sky above them shimmered faintly as the blue wave spread wider. Arjun checked his old laptop connected to the system. Random symbols filled the screen, but Lyra could read them. "They are analyzing us," she said. "Good. Let them think we're stronger than we look." The generator began to overheat. Smoke rose from the wires. Arjun quickly adjusted a valve. How long do we need?" 2 more minutes." 2 minutes is a long time when aliens are watching." She almost smiled despite the tension. The red scan beam suddenly disappeared. Lyra gasped. They pulled back. Meaning? Arjun asked. They are reassessing. He allowed himself a small breath of relief. But it did not last long. Lyra's eyes widened again. They are charging something. Arjun's stomach tightened. Charging what? A precision strike weapon. His heart dropped. Can it hit just this house? Yes. How long? Less than a minute. Arjun looked at the overheating machine. If we shut this down now, do they lose the target? No, they already locked it. He clenched his fists. So they're testing us. Yes. Outside, the sky above the desert began to glow faint red. Lyra stepped in front of him suddenly. What are you doing? He asked. If they fire, I will project a shield. You can do that? For a few seconds? And then? I do not know. Arjun shook his head. No. We do this together. He looked around quickly, then his eyes landed on something in the corner of the workshop. Old mining explosives. Left over from a failed land clearing project months ago. A risky idea formed instantly. He ran to them. What are those? Lyra asked. Loud, he answered. He grabbed the explosives and connected them to a long wire system, leading far into the desert behind the house. You're not planning what I think you're planning, she said. Oh, I am. The red glow in the sky intensified. Lyra could feel the weapon locking in. 30 seconds, she whispered. Arjun finished connecting the detonator. He looked at her seriously. When they fire, you shield this house. Yes? And trust me. She nodded without hesitation. Above them, a thin beam of red energy formed beneath the cruiser. It shot downward at incredible speed. Now! Arjun shouted. Lyra raised both hands. A bright blue shield expanded around the house just as the red beam struck. The impact shook the desert violently. Sand exploded into the air. The shield cracked but held. Inside the Karth cruiser, officers stared in shock. Energy barrier confirmed, one said. Technology level inconsistent with primitive classification, another added. Or on the ground, Arjun pressed the detonator. A massive explosion erupted far behind the house in the desert hills. Fire and dust rose high into the air. To the cruiser's sensors, it looked like a counterattack. Surface retaliation detected, an officer shouted. The commander's eyes narrowed. Assess damage. No damage to cruiser, but energy signature suggests active defense network. The commander turned slowly. This planet is not listed as protected. It is not, Commander. He studied the readings carefully. Then it has allies. The officers fell silent. The commander made a decision. Withdraw to high orbit. Report to Dominion Command. Reclassification required. The massive cruiser slowly moved away from Earth. Back in the desert, Lyra collapsed to her knees as the blue shield faded. Arjun rushed to her side. It worked, he said, breathing hard. They're pulling back. She looked up at the sky weakly. Yes. For now. The red glow disappeared completely. The stars returned to normal. Arjun helped her sit against the wall. You saved this planet, she said softly. No, he replied. We tricked them. That is still victory. He laughed weakly. Temporary victory. She nodded. Yes, they will return. With more caution. Silence settled around them. The desert was quiet again, but everything had changed. Lyra looked at him seriously. You understand what happens now? They report Earth as defended. Yes. And that buys us time, he finished. She nodded. But when they learn the truth, they won't, he said firmly. She studied him carefully. You cannot hide forever. Maybe not, he said. But humans are good at surprising people. She smiled gently. I am beginning to see that. In orbit, the Karth cruiser vanished into deep space. But far beyond, a much larger fleet received the commander's report. Our Earth was no longer marked as primitive. It was marked as uncertain. And in the Dominion's language, uncertain meant dangerous. Back on the ground, Arjun looked at the damaged workshop, the smoke, the broken wires. His peaceful life was gone, but he did not regret it. Lyra looked at the stars again. For the first time since leaving her world, she felt something stronger than fear. Pride. Because one human mechanic had just forced a galactic empire to hesitate. And hesitation was the first crack in any empire. Arjun stood and looked at the horizon. "They'll be back," he said. "Yes," Lyra replied. He gave a small, determined smile. "Good. Next time, we'll be ready." In the far darkness of space, engines ignited. The Karth Dominion had noticed Earth, and that meant the real challenge was only beginning. The desert was quiet again, but the calm felt fragile. Arjun stood on the roof of his small house, eyes fixed on the horizon. Some of the stars were bright tonight, clearer than usual, as if the universe was holding its breath. Beside him, Lyra hovered slightly above the roof, her silver hair glowing faintly in the moonlight. "They will return," she said softly, almost as if stating a fact, not a fear. Arjun nodded. "I know, but now we have a chance to prepare." Lyra turned to him, violet eyes shining. "Prepare? Earth?" "Yes," he said firmly. "Your people need help, and I think humans can give it." Lyra's expression was a mixture of hope and concern. "I have seen humans. Some are reckless, some are kind. But few fight together for the greater good." Arjun smiled slightly. "Maybe that's why it's exciting. When we do it all the way." She tilted her head. "I like your confidence." Over the next week, Arjun and Lyra worked tirelessly. He taught her about human tools, electronics, and communication methods, while she shared knowledge about airy technology, energy shields, signal masking, and advanced propulsion systems. The first challenge was communication. The Karth Dominion had a vast network of surveillance probes. They needed a way to detect incoming scans before the fleet arrived. "We can build a sensor array," Lyra suggested. "It will use small satellites to map any energy signature approaching Earth. The system will warn you before they reach orbit." Arjun scratched his head. "Satellites? We don't have a factory." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "We will make do. Humans are resourceful." And they were. They scavenged parts from abandoned towers, old radios, and even the local university's discarded lab equipment. Arjun's hands were often covered in grease and scratches, while Lyra's glowing skin pulsed faintly from exertion. By the end of the week, they had built a small but functional early warning system. The first test was simple. Lyra sent a signal from orbit, or the sensors detected it within seconds. Arjun punched the air. "We're ready," he said, smiling. Lyra shook her head in disbelief. "Ready? But for what? The Karth fleet is enormous. Even with humans working together, they are many times stronger than we are." Arjun looked at her seriously. "Strength isn't always about numbers. Sometimes it's about cleverness. And sometimes it's about courage." Their preparations caught the attention of a few locals. A small group of mechanics, engineers, and even students joined them, curious about the glowing girl and her strange technology. Arjun welcomed them. "You don't have to understand everything right now," he told them. "Just follow instructions. This is bigger than all of us, but together, we can make a difference." Lyra was hesitant at first. Humans were unpredictable, but watching them work together reminded her of what her people valued: courage, intelligence, and creativity. You are unlike anything I imagined," she told Arjun one evening. He shrugged. "Humans surprise everyone, especially themselves." They worked through the nights. Each day brought new challenges: energy shielding experiments, communication tests, and building decoys to trick enemy sensors. The desert echoed with the hum of generators, the clank of metal, and Lyra's soft laughter when something worked better than expected. Then the warning system went off. A faint pulse had been detected far above Earth. Lyra's eyes widened. "The fleet. They are coming. Full force." Arjun's chest tightened. "Time to see if we're really ready." They activated the decoys first. Small pods released high above the desert, emitting energy signatures similar to Lyra's pod. The Karth cruisers scanned them immediately, slowing their approach. Lyra's hand hovered over the control sphere. They will analyze. That will give us minutes, maybe more. Arjun turned to the gathered humans. Listen carefully. Follow instructions. We're going to make them believe this planet is defended by a force they cannot destroy. The first cruiser came into view, enormous, dark, and menacing. Its shadow fell across the desert like a storm cloud. Lyra activated the energy shield around the workshop. The blue glow expanded, covering the nearby buildings. It flickered under the strain, but it held. Arjun directed the humans to activate improvised generators and small flares designed to simulate more energy weapons. "Do not stop," he shouted. "Keep the signals strong." The Karth fleet paused in orbit. Scanners picked up hundreds of decoy signals and real energy bursts. Their command systems were confused. Lyra watched carefully. They are cautious. The red scanning lights are moving slowly. They are unsure. Arjun grinned. Uncertainty is good. The humans continued working tirelessly. They moved like a single unit, following Arjun's directions, moving generators, activating shields, and keeping Lyra's pod energy stable. Hours passed. The Karth fleet had not attacked directly. They observed, scanned, and analyzed. Lyra and Arjun knew they had bought Earth time, but time was not infinite. Lyra floated beside Arjun. If they remain patient, they may still destroy us. I know, he said. But if they underestimate humans, we have a chance. Lyra tilted her head. You are very confident. Arjun looked at her. I don't know if it's confidence or stubbornness. Maybe both. Lyra laughed softly, a sound like silver wind. I think your species is fascinating. Yeah, he replied, and apparently terrifying to some aliens. By nightfall, the fleet withdrew slightly, scanning the planet from a greater distance. The human defenses and Lyra's pod had created the illusion of an advanced planetary defense network. Lyra turned to Arjun. They may return in greater numbers. I know, he said, but we will be ready. Humans can do amazing things when they work together. She studied him quietly. You have risked much to protect me, to protect your planet. Arjun shrugged. You didn't give me a choice. Once I saw you, I couldn't let them take you. Not without a fight. Lyra's violet eyes softened. Yes, I have not expected such loyalty. Humans are strange that way, he said. We protect what matters, even if it's someone from another world. The night passed slowly. The desert was calm, yet tension lingered. Every star felt like a watcher, every wind gusted like a whisper of warning. Lyra and Arjun continued to plan. They prepared more decoys, stronger shields, and a network of humans trained to respond to any signs of attack. It will not be easy, Lyra said quietly. I know, Arjun replied, but nothing worth fighting forever is. Lyra smiled faintly. You are very human. I try, he said with a grin. Weeks passed. The Karth fleet monitored Earth but did not attack directly. Every time they approached, Lyra and Arjun's human network created new illusions, signals, shields, and strategic displays of power. People across the desert began whispering about the glowing girl and the strange lights in the sky. Some feared her, and others believed she was a protector. Lyra grew stronger under Arjun's guidance, learning to combine her alien abilities with human ingenuity. The bond between them deepened, not romantic, but a profound trust forged under impossible odds. One night, as the desert wind swept across the dunes, Lyra looked at the stars. They are watching still, she said. Yes, Arjun replied. But now they know Earth is not weak, and we are ready for whatever comes next. Lyra studied him quietly. You believe humans can face a galactic empire. I don't just believe it, he said. I know it. We've already made them hesitate. That hesitation, that is victory, and from hesitation comes opportunity. She nodded slowly, her glowing skin reflecting the moonlight. Then I will fight beside you, human. Not because I must, but because you have shown me courage is not limited to one species. Arjun smiled. Good. Yao, because the real fight is just beginning. The stars shone brightly above the desert. Below, a human mechanic and a silver-haired alien girl stood together, ready to face the vast unknown. And somewhere far away, the Karth Dominion prepared to return. But this time, Earth would be ready. Because humans were not just survivors. They were unpredictable, clever, and unstoppable when united. And Lyra knew finally that her choice to trust one human had changed the future of two worlds. Saw in the desert night was quiet once more, but it was the calm before a storm that would test courage, loyalty, and ingenuity like never before. And together, Arjun and Lyra would show the galaxy that Earth was not a planet to conquer. It was a planet to respect.